this is Ludmilla from lowcarbabo.com. We will be doing something pretty cool today. Keto air fryer bread. Yep, you've heard right. It's really grain-free, gluten-free, and low carb. And yes, this air fryer bread tastes just like bread. It doesn't taste eggy, it's not dry. Instead, it has a beautiful chewy crust and a nice soft interior. And it really goes with everything. You can enjoy it with cheese, with jam, with mashed avocado, just like traditional bread. We will start off by mixing together half a cup of Greek yogurt with 4 large eggs and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm using full-fat Greek yogurt. That's the nice thick kind. And yes, it's whole fat, because when we do keto, we know we don't need to be afraid of some healthy fats, right? So let's crack those eggs. Don't forget the apple cider vinegar. And now we'll whisk it. It's well combined now, so we can set it aside. Now we'll whisk together our dry ingredients. We need 1 cup of almond flour, the blanched kind, 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. We also need 2 tablespoons of oat fiber. Now, don't worry. Oat fiber is a keto-friendly ingredient. It is made from the husks of oats, not the oats themselves. So it's just the fiber. And I just recently started using it in my baked goods, and I gotta say, I like this ingredient. It provides a nice flavor to the bread and also helps with the texture. It really makes bread the keto bread, even more bread-like, like we know it from traditional wheat bread. We also need psyllium husk powder. Make sure it's the powder. It helps with the texture too. 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. And we'll just whisk that up too. So now we just have to combine the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. It's pretty easy. Stir it well. What I love about making this bread, it's really easy to make. You just have to whisk and combine everything, and you don't have to let it rise. So it's a pretty fast bread. Now, as you can see, the dough right now is pretty wet, but don't worry, we're gonna let it sit for 5 minutes, and the oat fiber and the psyllium husk powder is gonna absorb the moisture. So let's just wait. Okay, 5 minutes have passed, so let's take a look at the dough now. Ah, much better. Do you see how much of the moisture is absorbed? So now we come to the optional part. If you like, you can add some seeds. I love adding sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds or even sesame seeds to my bread. But of course, I'm completely out of any seeds today. But I did find some pine nuts. So I chopped them up, and I'm just going to add them today. This is about 1/4 cup of pine nuts. Now I'll just combine everything. Okay, so now we just have to shape our bread, and then we can bake it. We'll be shaping our bread by hand, and then we're going to place it on a piece of parchment paper. And I greased it with some olive oil just to be 100% sure it's not going to stick later on. So if I found using wet hands or oiled hands really helps with handling this dough, because otherwise it can still be a little sticky. Okay, so I'll wet my hands, and I'm just going to shape it now into a rectangular shape. But you can also do an oval shape. That's really up to you. I want it to be about 7 inches long and 4 inches wide. So I'm actually going to cut around the parchment paper so that it's only slightly larger than the bread. Let's do it. I want to leave some parchment around the bread because it will rise a little bit, but we don't need much. This is my air fryer basket, and actually in my air fryer I have the option of moving the tray up or down, but I will use the lowest position for baking my bread. I'll just lift it up with the parchment paper and place it right in the center of the basket. So now we just need to bake our bread at 340 degrees. It will take about 35 minutes. I will flip the bread once midway through, and this way the bread will get a beautiful chewy crust all around. And this is something that we don't usually get when we bake our bread in the oven. So I really like this part. So while my bread is baking, I will just do some dishes. See you in a few. I washed my dishes and I still got some time left. So let's do our keto tip of the day. Buy full fat products. So no longer be afraid of eggs, butter, coconut oil, avocados. These healthy fats are good for us. So we're not quite done yet. We're about midway through, but I just wanted to show you guys how I flip this bread. I lift it up by the parchment paper. Be careful, it's hot, so using mittens may be a good idea. And then I'll just place it on a clean kitchen towel. I flip it over like that. Can you see that? I'll take the bread, place it back on the parchment paper, and then the whole thing goes back into my air fryer basket. Okay, now we have about 18 minutes left. Guess what? Our bread is ready. As you can see, it really has a nice crust all around. And you can see my little pine nuts over here. It still feels warm, but I think I can cut into it. So let's do it and see what it looks like from the inside. It's a little hot here. Wow. Okay, I can't wait to give it a try. And I'll just do it the old-fashioned way, with some good old grass-fed butter. Let's try it. It's kind of amazing how much it tastes like artisan bread. You know, the kind of bread that you would get from the bakery. I mean, it's sturdy, it has a nice crust, it's chewy, and it's so easy to make. Alright guys, that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe and to like this video. I'll see you soon.